How y'all doing?
We're good.
Good. All right.
Great.
So we are in play. Inside that chat, you guys will see a registration for next week training. So if you guys want to get registered for next week, it's in the chat already. The link is already in the chat. So you can do that while we're getting started here. So for those who may have missed the email, who may have missed the text message, we're going to be talking about introduction to business for the next couple of weeks, becoming an entrepreneur. And it's going to be about a few different things. But of course, today we're going to be talking about the difference between self-employed and being an entrepreneur, business structure and business mindset, because those are things that particularly are going to come first as it comes to starting a business. And we're going to also talk about that transition from the 9-to-5 mindset. And that doesn't mean that you have to quit your 9-to-5. That's not what the transition means. The transition means that you have to know how to change your mindset so that you're not just thinking 9-to-5. It's okay to think 9-to-5 at the 9-to-5, but you have to be able to shut that down and then go into entrepreneurial mode once you leave that job, if that's the case. So we're going to talk about a little of that today as well as we go through these slides here. So introduction to business, becoming an entrepreneur. So we always start with a quote: build your dream, your own dreams, or someone else will hire you to build theirs. And that is pretty much how that works. So you're either going to create a dream and work on it and have some people help you work on yours, or you're going to be helping somebody work on theirs. That's totally up to you. Fair or gray? So it can be confusing without guidance, right? So forming a company, I'm gonna go through these bullet points and kind of go over some things on these bullet points, of course, so you guys will have a better understanding of them. So forming a company, how to choose. So, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter whether you are in a network marketing company. It doesn't matter whether you're a real estate agent. It doesn't matter whether you own a tax office. I don't care what you are doing as an entrepreneur. It's not going to matter. You need to form a company. And you need to form a company so that you can protect yourself and so that you can operate the way that you should operate. And so that you are being paid to an EIN number, not being paid to a social security number. Now, what form of company that you choose, you need to talk to either an attorney or an accountant to make that decision, because I can't make that decision for you because I don't know why you're forming the company. So that what determines that is whether it's you're forming the company because of tax purposes, are you forming a company to protect yourself legally so that you don't get sued, or you can fly on a lower radar if a suit was to come. So we need to know why you're doing that before we could help answer that question. So I would say speak to your tax attorney, or speak to, not your tax attorney, your accountant or a tax attorney, or just a regular attorney to find out which company you want to form. Most of the time, I formed an S corporation twice. Most of the time I form an LLC, which is a limited liability company. And the reason why I form limited liability companies are for two reasons. One is because of the protection, because with a regular C corporation, typically speaking, you want to be making over $1 million before you form one of those, because it's double taxation. So if you have a regular corporation, you're getting double taxed. So you're going to get taxed on what the company makes, and then you're going to get taxed on whatever it is you bring home from the company. So that's why they call it double taxation. If you have a limited liability company, what happens with the limited liability company is you can now split that up. So let's just say there's two partners on this Zoom, or a husband and wife on this Zoom, and they're in the LLC together. They can literally have a partnership of 50-50 or 60-40 or 30-70 or whatever you guys agree on. And that percentage of the income goes home with that person. And then they pay taxes on that part of the income along with their other taxes. So it's easier to pull the money out the company that way, and then just go ahead and pay taxes on your portion of the money. So if the company made $100,000 and you had a partner that was 50-50, you would take 50,000 home. They would take 50,000 home. If you also had a full-time job that paid you $40,000 a year as a W-2 employee, Now you're paying taxes on your 40,000 as a W-2 employee, plus you're paying taxes on your 50,000 as a business owner. Now, of course, there's a lot of other things that go into that, and I'm not going to touch on that because I'm not giving legal and tax advice here, because that's not what this is for. But of course, there's write-offs and things like that. So if the company made $100,000 minus your write-offs and your expenses, that's going to knock that number down. I'm just generally giving you that 50,000 just so you can understand the figure. So if it was 70-30, then you would have taken home 30% if you were the 30% partner, and out of that $100,000, you would have taken home 30. If you had $50,000 in expenses, $15,000 in expenses, then you would be paying taxes on 15,000 plus your 40,000 at your job. I hope that's making sense. So as a matter of fact, if this is making sense, jump in the chat, because I want to make sure you guys are understanding that. And I'm gonna try to leave some things for some questions on here as well, just in case you guys have questions at the end. I'm gonna try to leave some time for that. But I hope this makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. If it does make sense, let me know, because I can see the chat popping up. So that's typically why I form an LLC. Most of the time I have a partnership, and it gives us the ability to just say at the end of the year, like, this is what we took home. Let's leave nothing in the company. If there's nothing in the company at the end of the year, there's nothing to tax, because the partners have to split what's in the company. So that's why a lot of times a lawyer won't have you do a C corp unless you plan on having a business that's going to have revenue of over $1 million. Because at that point, your tax accountant and your tax attorneys are going to show you how to, I want to be careful what I say here, how to lessen the amount of taxes that you would pay. So when you have a C corp and you're making that kind of money, they have things that they can do. So if you're not making over $1 million with your company, I would say don't go with a C corp. But LLC and S corps, those are home with. You don't necessarily have to do that. Hold on, let me get that person moved out here. Sorry. And let me do something else here real quick. Okay. All right. So that's how that works on a corporation deal. So, and I want to stick with corporations for a second. When it comes to and I'll give a couple of examples. If I was a club owner, meaning not a nightclub, but like a gym, a workout club owner, and I had a partner, I would probably form an LLC to protect ourselves from a lawsuit, because there's something called piercing the corporate veil. And what that means is if you have a regular C corp and a company gets sued, typically speaking, any company will shield the owners to a certain extent. But attorneys can go after liability. And what does that mean? So let's say that I had a business with Carol Walker, and me and Carol Walker were partners, and it was it was a gym, right? And Carol Walker wasn't only my partner, she was also a nutritionist and a personal trainer. Well, one of the clients in the gym, she's working with that person as a personal client. She has that person do an exercise, that person gets hurt because they said that they had already been in an accident and hurt that muscle or that limb or whatever. And Carol was irresponsibly having that person do an exercise and they got hurt. Well, because Carol is part owner in that company, her attorneys that were suing us pierced the corporate veil by saying, look, normally the liability falls on the corporation, not the owners. That's why they have a corporation. But in this instance, because one of the partners was the reason that we're suing, we can pierce the corporate veil and go after Carol's personal income, because she was actually the person that hurt my client. So because they can say that, they can quote unquote pierce the corporate veil. So when you have an LLC, which is limited liability corporation, even when they go after Carol, she can still defend herself and say, hey, my liability in this circumstance is still limited. That's why I formed the LLC. So even though that attorney can still go after her, they can only go after her for a certain amount. That's why you form a limited liability company or corporation, is because it limits the liability of the owners. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? So that's why a lot of times I'll form an LLC as opposed to an S corp, is because if anything was to happen, I want to make sure that even if I'm at fault, I can still say, hey, I've got a limited liability company. So even though you can personally sue me, it's going to be limited on how much you can get from me. So that's what makes that make sense. So that's as deep as legal I'm going to get there because I don't want to get myself in trouble. So on my classes that I'm going to be doing through Teachable, when it comes to forming a company, I will have my good friend Tiffany Sullivan come in and do all of those lessons. And I've already talked to her about that. So you will have an actual attorney teaching all on my classes. So yeah, not doing no legal stuff, not getting in trouble. So self-employed or business owner, how does this work? A lot of times your friends, family, maybe people that you do business with will tell you that they're a business owner when really they're self-employed. And it's important to know the difference between self-employed and a business owner, because self-employed people pretty much have bought a job. Now, if you're self-employed on this Zoom, that's no offense. I'm not like taking a shot at you by saying that. No more than I'm taking a shot at a person by saying they have a 9-to-5. It's just what it is. If you have a job, you have a job. If you're self-employed, you're self-employed. And if you're a business owner, you're a business owner. You could be all three. You could be a realtor that's self-employed, and you could own a business, and you could still have a job. So you could be all three. But the reason why I bring this up is because when you're forming a corporation, you want to look at these kind of things. You want to look at whether you're self-employed or whether you're a business owner. You want to make sure you get an EIN number. I meet people, I have clients all the time that call me and they say, well, you know, I'm operating with my social security number. And I'll say, well, why didn't you form a company? Oh, I did form a company. Or they formed a DBA. And I should have explained that, which is doing business as. So let me explain that real quick. So let me pause. Let me go back and say that because I want to make sure you guys are clear on specific things. A DBA in the state of Florida, I don't know how they work in every state is different, but in the state of Florida, DBAs cost less. So if I wanted to form a DBA, like for instance, I have a company called Oceanside Benefits Group, right? And that's how I do all of my benefits through Legal Shield. So I operate even my Legal Shield business as a company that has companies. And I do that because I learned years ago, like almost 20 years ago, that you in this living in this country, and you know, again, not taking a shot at the country, just how you need to operate. You have to put yourself in a position to be behind layers so that you don't get pulled into things that you really don't want to be pulled into. So when I'm operating Legal Shield and I'm doing my employee enrollments, all my stuff is all Oceanside Benefits Group. When Legal Shield pays me, when I go do an enrollment for a company, I do enrollments from August to November. All of that business is going through a company called Oceanside Benefits Group. And they pay me the same way they pay anybody else that's in Legal Shield, but they pay me to an EIN number under a company name. Now, instead of me forming an LLC, what I could have done was started a DBA. I could be Robert A. Dunbar III, doing business as, which is what DBA stands for, doing business as Oceanside Benefits Group. Or let's say I open up a company. So I used to have a tax office and it was called the Tax Center and it was in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, let's say I wanted to open up another tax office that was just for business taxes and I wasn't going to do personal taxes there. And I was calling that Tax Center for Business. I could literally open up Tax Center LLC, and then I can take Tax Center LLC and open up a DBA where it would be Tax Center LLC doing business as Tax Center Business. And Tax Center Business would operate through that same EIN number. I hope this is making sense, but I would only have to pay $60 in the state of Florida for a DBA, $60, and that $60 would hold my DBA for 5 years. So I wouldn't have to form a whole nother company. I would just take my company that I have and make it own the DBA. And what that means is that Tax Center LLC is doing business elsewhere as Tax Center Business. And I would still file my taxes under that same EIN number, which is my company's social security number, which then allows me to put all of that income in one place and file my taxes that way if I chose to. So I wanted to make sure I covered that before I finish talking about self-employed and business owner. So as a person that's self-employed, I may be a realtor that's self-employed, but guess what? There's still liability in me being a realtor because something could happen. You know, I could show Adele a house, and when I show him the house, What if he says there was mold in the house and he got sick? Who is he suing? Now, if Adel was smart, he would sue the real estate company that I was a realtor for. But he could sue the real estate company and add me in the lawsuit, which is what his attorney would probably do because I'm a realtor that was showing the house to Adel. So what if I, as a realtor that's self-employed, I said, okay, I'm going to go form a company called Reality Realtors LLC. And I form that company, or I form a company called Robert A. Dunbar III LLC, and then form a DBA called Reality Real Estate. And I say, I'm Robert A. Dunbar III doing business as Reality Realtors. I apply for a sole proprietorship EIN number. So I'm not using my social. And now the real estate company that I work for is paying me into an EIN number as a sole proprietor. But I also have a DBA in a company in my name that I'm operating from as well. And the good thing about having Robert A. Dunbar III LLC is if somebody cuts me a check under Reality Realtors or cuts me a check under Robert A. Dunbar III, I could probably deposit it in my business bank account. Because if I open up a business bank account called Robert A. Dunbar III, I could do that all day long. So this is making sense, right? So self-employed, you work for yourself, but it's the same setup as if you work for somebody else. Instead of you working for a company, you just work for yourself. When you're a business owner, you own a separate operation that's operating on its own. Even to the point that if you know the story of Apple years ago, where, and I can't think of the guy's name, the guy who original owner of Apple, what his name was, but he ended up, when the company went public, he ended up being put out the company. And a lot of people, when they watched the movie, they didn't understand how did he start a company and get put out the company? Because when he went public, he's now the CEO or whatever position he had at that time. He's got partners, and then the shareholders own the company to a certain extent. It depends on how many shareholders they have. So now that person can be put out their own company. So if you have a board and you have positions in that company where you could be put out, that could happen. So, and I'm giving you that example of a business owner because a business owner to some of us is just, I'm a person that owns a business. I own a trucking company and I got 2 vehicles and I got a guy that drives for me. So I'm a business owner. And to a certain extent, that is a business owner. But when I'm saying business owner, I'm talking about operating a big deal. And why is this important? Why am I talking to you about this? Because I need your mindset to be bigger than what it is. Because if you limit your mindset to thinking small and thinking that a business owner is just this guy that gets out of this man or woman that leaves their house and gets in their car and drives to their tax office or their office or whatever else they own or some gym that they own, and they sit in there all day long with their employees and with their customers, and it's like, this is Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner. You're thinking too small. A business owner owns an operation that operates on its own, with or without Mr. or Mrs. Business Owner. So when we're talking about introduction to business, you guys have to understand that there's a big difference with the IRS. There's a big difference with how you report your income. It's a big difference in how you operate when you have self-employed versus a business owner. An insurance agent that writes business for New York Life is self-employed. And sometimes they're actually employed. It depends on what their position is, because some of them aren't even independent. But if they're an independent agent and they're saying, hey, I'll write business through New York Life, that's kind of where I hang my license, so to speak, then that person is just self-employed. And sometimes they'll say, well, I'm a business owner. And I don't go around correcting people because that's just annoying and there's no need to do it. But the truth of the matter is that person is not a business owner. They're self-employed. You don't own a business because you form a company. You don't own a business because you joined a network marketing company. So just understand that when we're talking about this terminology, that you understand and that you put on, if you really want to be a business owner, you need to understand the capacity of what that means. And you need to have that on your whiteboard. You need to have that in your vehicle. You need to have that on your phone if you really want to be a business owner. Because sometimes we're thinking too small. So let's look at bullet point number 3, exit strategy, right? So in talking about exit strategy, when I'm talking to a client, or maybe somebody just called me that I know, and they're saying, hey, look, I'm about to set this company up, and what should I be looking out for? I say, well, number 1, do you have a business plan? And number 2, do you have an exit strategy? And most of the people say to me, well, no, I don't really have an exit strategy because this is probably what I'm gonna do forever. This is probably what I'm gonna do forever. So I'm gonna touch on I just lost somebody putting it in the chat box for me. Because as much as I talk about it, it just slipped my mind. Oh no, here it is, prenuptial agreement. So prenuptial agreement. And I know some of you all on this Zoom probably saying, I don't believe in that, and that's fine. Believe in whatever you're going to believe in. This is not about whether you believe in it or not. It's about the premise of what it's for. So you sign a prenuptial agreement because you're thinking that this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life. But something could go wrong. And if something goes wrong and you have to exit that situation, the time to make decisions about what's right and wrong are not going to be made correctly because now you've got a problem with that other person. Yes or yes? So the reason why you do a prenuptial is to say, okay, I came in with this, you came in with that. We agree that if we go our separate ways a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this is what's fair. Let's agree to that while we're both in a good mood and on great terms. Because now we're going to do what's fair. Because if I wait until I tick you off to make this decision, now you're going to make a decision based on your emotions, based on, as opposed to making the decision based on what's really fair. So why do I tell my clients to have an exit strategy? Because 1, you may be thinking you want to do that. I can tell you a whole bunch of things I thought at 30 that at 40, I wasn't thinking no more. There's people that they're passionate about this business and they get involved in this business, in this company, and they own a gym or a real estate agency, or they own a tax office or a nightclub, or some of which I've done all of those things and I'm no longer in those things. You couldn't have told me otherwise. When me and my partner, when I bought into a nightclub with my partner, you couldn't have told me anything. I was probably 29, so somewhere between 29 and 31 years old. I own a nightclub full of women. You couldn't have told me nothing different. I'm single, and I'm a part owner of this nightclub. I won't ever have to worry about finding a girlfriend, that's for sure, right? This the lifestyle I thought I liked. 6 months into that, I didn't even want to see a woman at all. So your mind will change because circumstances will change. So the exit strategy is, I'm going into this thing, but how am I planning on getting out? Right? So an example. So I work with people that are in network marketing. And I get it. I get all that. I get the rah-rah and the excitement, and I love all of that stuff. I go to the conventions and I'm excited and I love the passion. I love when people love what they do. Like I live for that, right? But I also know that you can get tired. I also know that as hard as I work and as much of a workaholic as I am, that at some point in my life, I'm going to not want to be bothered with nobody. I'm going to not want to be bothered with all of those things, which is why I work as hard as I do right now. That's part of the reason. It's because I know that I'm not always going. And look, God forbid it be a situation that happened where I don't have a choice where I can work this hard. I may not have a choice. It could be a car accident. It could be an illness. I mean, in this day and time, it could be coronavirus. You just know what might happen. And if something happens, what's your exit strategy? Can you sell this to somebody else? Have you spoken to your kids about taking this over? Will your spouse run this if you want? Do you have an agreement where if you've got a partnership going on, that there's an agreement with your business partners that if your spouse does not want to run that business with you, with them, then they can buy her out or they can buy him out. Do you have that in place? Do you have those things in place? Is there an exit strategy in place? When you get tired, is there an exit strategy in place? The reason why I'm in Legal Shield as my network marketing company of choice is because they pay residual income. And whenever I get tired of doing Legal Shield, because look, the bottom line is I'm going to get tired at some point. I want to know that all of the work I did for the 20 or 30 years, I'm still getting paid on. I want to know that the leveraged income that I built up in the network marketing company, which is another reason why I chose Legal Shield, is because they had a track record of not folding as a company. And I knew that when I got involved with the network marketing company, that it was going to be years. And I want to make sure that when I get tired and I get lazy, that the company doesn't get investigated by the SEC or the Federal Trade Commission and shut it down. And there goes my residual income after I worked for 20 or 30 years for this company. So what is your exit strategy? I have a B2B side of my business. I have people on my team that do B2B. I have people in the marketplaces that I go to in the marketplace that I live in that do B2B. What do I groom them for? I groom them so that they can take over my accounts when I no longer want to at a 50% commission split, where I can make half of everything I work for and never have to lift a finger. Why do I know that that works? Because somebody did that for me. Most of the 50% commission splits that I'm on, it's a person in Legal Shield that's been in Legal Shield for over 25 years. That's got over 23,000 memberships on the books. Well, I don't know how many on the books still, but has written over 23,000 memberships. And her husband trained me for about 5 years on how to work their accounts, how to talk to the people, how to deal with open enrollment, how to deal with all of the pluses and the minuses and everything. And I showed them some things. I showed them all the new stuff that was happening with the apps and how to do the customer service with the way that the company is now. And I taught them what I taught them, and they taught me what they taught me. And now they got a pool at their house that they hang out in. They got swing chairs in the back. They got grandkids that they play with. So all during open enrollment season, I bust my butt, and half of it goes to them. That ain't a bad deal. So what did that teach me to do? Work with my team and work with people in different marketplaces so that when I get tired, I can turn what I have over to somebody else, and then I can get a percentage of it. And then they can make the rest, and they can go do all the work because I built it up. Does that make sense? Got to have an exit strategy, guys. That's part of being a business owner. So stop thinking you're doing some part-time thing. Don't stop thinking that. And I don't care what it is. I don't care whether it's network marketing. I don't care whether you own a gym. You got to have an exit strategy. You bought into this gym. What's your exit strategy? You bought into a yoga studio. What's your exit strategy? If you get tired. You bought into a Chick-fil-A franchise. What's your exit strategy when you get tired? You've got to have one. So let's move on. Investing cash and financing. So again, as a business owner, right? I'm looking to grow my business. I'm looking to go into business. I got a 9-to-5. I'm looking to really build. I'm looking to become an entrepreneur, right? That's what this training is about. Becoming an entrepreneur. Am I going to infuse cash in deals, or am I going to use financing? That's what we need to figure out. I'm in network marketing. They got conventions twice a year. Those conventions might cost anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 to pay for you to go. By the time you buy a ticket, travel, book your hotel, pay for that hotel food, a cup of coffee, $12, right? A cheese sandwich, $15. Y'all know how it works. Get a hamburger from the restaurant downstairs. They act like you're on the island somewhere in Mexico. So we know what it costs to be at those kind of events. Are you putting that on your credit card, or are you using cash? If you're putting those on a credit card, is it a credit card that's got zero financing or very low financing, or are you a person with bad credit with a higher credit card, and now really the event is costing you $3,000? Because if that's the case, you're putting yourself in a bad financial situation as an entrepreneur. If you're saying, hey, look, I've got a full-time job, I'm looking to take some money, I've saved up some money over the last 2 or 3 years, Can you guys hear me now? All right, give me 1 second. All right. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get my the screen back up here. All right, do you guys see the PowerPoint? All right, let me see. You guys still see the PowerPoint? All right. Sorry, guys. Like my computer just kind of like just went out. Like I guess it just was like not right now. So there's not a lot I can do about that. Sorry. All right. Okay. Got us caught back up. Okay, I apologize again, guys. All right, so I was talking about investing cash and financing, and kind of where I left off at was, you know, if you had a 9 to 5 and you said, hey, look, I've got some extra money I put up over the last couple of years, and I want to go and try to invest in some real estate, and you were going to use that cash, I would tell you as an entrepreneur, it's probably better to seek financing to do that deal and hold on to your cash. Because if something goes wrong with that house, if a big plumbing problem comes up, if anything that comes up that's going to stop that deal from doing what it's supposed to do, and I don't necessarily mean closing, I mean something happening with that property. Oh, y'all can't see the presentation anymore? Hold on. Oh, what happened? What happened? Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen like that. Give me 1 second. Y'all supposed to see this PowerPoint right now. So let me know what y'all seeing so I know whether y'all seeing the right thing here. All right, it's back up. All right, let me see something. All right, what y'all seeing now? What y'all seeing now? PowerPoint? All right. Man, I'm getting a hard time tonight. Okay. All right, we good now? All right, good. Okay, so like I was saying, if you were going to do that real estate deal, I would keep my cash. I would use the bank to finance it, and I would hold my money just in case a plumbing issue happened when I was rehabbing a property, and it was outside of whatever money the bank was giving me to rehab the house. If it was a house that needed to have rehab, or maybe you buy the house and you do all of the financing on that property. And no, that's the right slide. It should be. It's on the one that says invest in cash and financing on bulletproof number 4, right? Still on the quote. What in the world? I'm looking at something different there. What you see now? Oh, this is crazy. Like seriously. All right, hold on. Y'all see the right slide now? Okay. All right, we're in the right place there. All right, good. Sorry about that. Man, I am a mess today. Not in presentation mode. What you mean, Lori? So is it showing that it's showing the slide, but it's not showing it like in big? It's showing it like I haven't like brought up the actual PowerPoint? Ah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I'm gonna try this again. Try it again. All right, what y'all seeing right now? Not in presentation mode, okay. All right. So, but it's still not in full presentation mode, right? But y'all can see it. No, actually, I'm hitting it. I'm hitting it on my side. It's just not showing on y'all's side. Like it's full screen on my computer. So I don't know why it's not showing that for y'all. But I'll go ahead and talk like I said. Okay, so again, that's what I would do with the money. I would not use the money to buy the house. I wouldn't use it for other than for the down payment that I would need. I wouldn't use my money. I would hold my money because some people will put the money into the house to make the monthly payments lower. And what I would suggest in a circumstance like that, not putting the money in the house, into the buying the house to make the payments lower, but hold your cash in case you need to fix something that's not in that budget, or in case you want to do upgrades that will make the property worth more. So you may use that cash to remodel something, and then you're going to sell it afterwards and you're going to get that money back. But I certainly wouldn't put it into the house going in to buy. So I hope that makes sense. So the next bullet point says marketing, old school or new school. So again, as a business owner, so I'm going to form a company, I'm going to get into business. And there's a lot of people that are coming to me and they'll be talking to me about magazine articles and billboards. And I'm like, look, marketing nowadays, unless you're some big law firm that's got the money to go up on a board like that, or you're in an industry where you can't really go on Facebook and market that way, because there's some industries you can, like financial advisors, they can't really go on Facebook and market. So when you don't have the ability to do social media marketing and you're going with the old school deal, like a magazine and things like that, billboards, that's something different. But as a person saying, hey, I'm going to form a company, or I just opened up a gym, or I'm a real estate agent and I'm looking for more real estate agents to go into my real estate office that I opened up, or I'm a network marketer, you should be marketing through social media platforms. And if you're telling me all of these things about, I don't get on social media because of this, I don't get on social media because of that, I'm not going to convince you otherwise. But what I'm telling you is you're hurting your business dramatically. So you can be on Facebook and not be bothered with all the Facebook stuff. You can set up an account with Facebook and have some people who do social media do it for you, so that you're not fooling around with all that if you don't want to. But to not advertise on social media because somebody has told you there's some bad experience that you don't want to deal with, you wouldn't believe how many times, and really, guys, most of the time when clients tell me that, it's really not even a reason. They've been told some kind of lie, or made to think that if they open up some kind of Facebook account that they're going to get an identity theft situation that's going to happen because of it and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, look, anything's possible. If you're concerned about opening up a Facebook account because you think something's going to happen to you, then you might as well not cross the street either. Because something can happen to you that way as well. So understand that if you're saying, hey, look, I don't want to get into that personally, then have a company set up a social media account for your business and have them do the marketing for you. And you don't ever have to be on social media. You don't ever have to do anything. You don't have to see it. Let somebody else handle it for you, so that you can pull the money off of Facebook without you actually being on Facebook. So you got some old school and some new school marketing, and I would definitely tell you the new school marketing, all of the online things, those are gonna work better for you. So brick and mortar or online. I was having a conversation earlier with a young lady about this very topic, brick and mortar or online. I've had about 3 brick and mortar businesses before. And what I'll tell you is brick and mortar businesses, depending on what kind of business you have, some businesses you have to have it as a brick and mortar business. If it's a nightclub, well, guess what? It needs to be brick and mortar. If it's a tax office, guess what? You want it to be brick and mortar, because although you can do taxes online, the whole idea of opening up a tax office in an area where it's like a low to middle income is because you get all of those people that will walk into your tax office because it's convenient and file their taxes. So that is a brick and mortar business that, because it's brick and mortar, it does well. I mean, you can't take a nightclub and put it online. I mean, I guess you could. You could stream it, but that's not going to be the same experience. So you're going to have that as a brick and mortar. So we know if you're buying into Chick-fil-A's and Steak and Shake franchises, those things, yes, you're going to be brick and mortar. If you can do it online, do it online. The biggest lesson I learned not the biggest lesson I learned in life, but the biggest lesson I learned due to this pandemic was to run my business online. Every aspect of my business. I've been like from the day to night since this pandemic started, switching all of my stuff over. Updating my website, doing all kinds of things so that my whole business works online. And guess what? That's going to be better for me in the long run, that everything works online. Because now I can operate my business anywhere in the world. Not only that, I can pick up clients anywhere in the world, because guess what? They don't have to fly in from another country. They don't have to come from Canada or UK to come to a training in Orlando, Florida, or Dallas, Texas. I can train them online. Zumba companies, gyms, all of those things are moving to online. Look at the equipment. Look at the bikes now. The stationary bikes that you can buy and literally congregate with people all over the world and race people all over the world because it's computerized. And when you're on your bike in your own house, it feels like you're with other people. Even an app, guys, like on my Apple Watch, I have something called the Night Run Club. The Night Run Club has coaches on it, other people that I'm dealing with. I every month, I'm literally racing like 70,000 people to get to 100 miles in 30 days. So I typically run about 150 miles a month. And I'm in a 100K club where we do the 100K every month, and it lets us know how many, where we're at on all of that. So it's really just it's an interesting circumstance the way that happens. Oh, hold on, something just happened here. Hold on, give me a second, guys. I don't know what y'all can see, but this just did something crazy. So hold on. I don't know what y'all can see. Hit that chat box. I don't know what y'all looking at. Okay, y'all still see the same slide. Okay, all right. No change. Okay, so something changed on my end, but not on y'all end. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. My computer did something crazy, but it didn't do anything on y'all's end. Oh, okay. All right. So when it comes to this whole online deal, if something changes, just say something. I got the chat open, so if something happens, just all right. So if anything changes, just say it because I got the chat up and I can see it. So when it comes to that brick and mortar online, you want to make sure that you're looking at, hey, look, on this online deal, I can really do more. I can grow my business more. I can get more clients. I don't have to pay for a brick and mortar fee. I don't have to have employees doing all that stuff. You can have administrative things, but not as much. So when it comes to this online deal, whether it be a gym, whether it be you being a realtor and not having to have an actual office for people to go to, it really works in your best interest to be online if you can be online. If it's the kind of company that can, I would suggest that you don't do it. Last bullet point on this slide, transaction-based versus subscription-based. And some of you have heard me talk about this before. You want to get into, so right now, when I'm looking at getting into anything else, right? And I'm not looking to get into anything right now, but when I'm looking at, hey, what am I going to do next? Typically speaking, it has to be subscription-based. I do not want to get into anything that's transaction-based anymore. I want it to be subscription-based. I want it to have passive income involved. I want it to have leverage income involved. I want it to have residual income involved. All of those things, or one of those things at least. I no longer want to be involved as a business owner in anything that somebody buys something to me, buy something from me, and I have to wait and see whether or not they're gonna do it again. I don't want to have that kind of customer base. There is no way for me to track them down and make sure that they continue to buy. I want it to be something that's automatically coming out of their account. So when you're looking at transaction-based versus a subscription-based, again, why did I choose Legal Shield as my network marketing company? Well, before I was using the terminology transaction-based and subscription-based, I was still thinking that way, meaning that, okay, so when people buy this membership, it just comes out of their bank account every month and I don't have to put anything in my garage. That makes a lot of sense. So that's what you want to be looking at. You want to look at subscription-based versus transaction-based. Now, there are some other things. Again, if you own a tax office, you can't make them subscribe. So just know for that 4 months, you're gonna make what you're gonna make, and you're gonna have to do a whole bunch of grassroots marketing again next year to get those customers back. If you own a gym, guess what? It's subscription based. If you're a realtor, it's transaction based. It's transaction based. If you're in the right network marketing company, then it could be subscription based. It depends on what you're in. Obviously, a lot of financial companies are subscription based when it comes to network marketing. Yes, yes. Tell me what y'all see coming up now. Y'all see a different slide? No, no, no. Same slide. Uh-oh. What y'all seeing now? Uh-oh. Only see me at the moment. Okay. Me. That's not what y'all supposed to be seeing. I'm supposed to be seeing a slide. All right, let me check something out here. I need a tech person in my house. Let me try this. All right. So, what you see now? Mindset slide. All right. What you see now? In presentation mode or presentation mode? Full slide. Presentation mode, right? All right. All right, so having a business mindset, guys. So you see this what the definition says here? A way of thinking that enables you to uncover and see problems as opportunities, guys. Just remember, some of the biggest millionaires in this country came from the Great Depression, came from times where the country was doing bad. Again, I was talking to a young lady today. I don't know whether she's on here or not right now, but I was talking to a young lady today about how I know so many realtors that are putting money up right now. They're closing deals and they're putting their money in the bank, because they know that the market is going to crash and they capitalize off of that. When a market crashes, the best position you can be in when a market crashes is for you to have a bunch of cash. If you got a boatload of money, when a real estate market crashes, you can get rich. So that's where you have to be. You have to be with opportunity. So it says uncover and see problems as opportunities. So when a market crashes, that's going to be a problem for a lot of people. It's going to be a problem for a lot of homeowners when the market crashes. Well, guess what? If you're a business mindset person, right, you can actually see opportunity in those issues and make money, right? It says, and then turning those opportunities into a business is an understanding that everything around us is the result of someone having an idea and then executing it. Ain't that the truth? So I have this up here just so you guys can understand that, you know, the next book that I'm going to show you guys, a lot of times people will say, I ask people about reading business books, and they tell you, they go pull all these books that teach you how to open up a business, how to run a business, how to do a business plan. And those books are great. But when we're talking about a business mindset, we're not talking about a book that tells you that you need an account. We're not talking about a book that says you need to write a business plan before you open. The topics that I just talked about, marketing, online, or using cash or using financing, there's books out there for all those things. Business mindset is not that. This book that I always tell beginners to read, I tell them to read it for a reason. Why Rich Dad Poor Dad as I become an entrepreneur? Because this book is talking about the difference between the 9-to-5 mindset and a business owner mindset. There you go. I see you, Trent. I see you, brother. That's why that book is important. That book is important because it's mindset, guys. It's teaching you how to transition and say, hey, look, the mindset of 9-to-5 is great to have when you're doing your 9-to-5. I'm not saying you shouldn't have it, but I'm telling you that when you hang your 9-to-5 hat up and put your business, your business owner hat on, you need to understand what you're doing to know the difference. In this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, guys, look, I don't have no affiliation link. I don't have no deal with Robert Kiyosaki to push his book to y'all. I'm doing it because I help, because I like to help. And I'm telling you, this book will change your mind on what it means to have a job. And if you talk to me for any amount of time about your job, if you call me and say, hey, look, I got a job and I want to transition to go to a business ownership, I'm going to have a conversation with you. And it's not going to be about you leaving your job. It's going to be about how you think about your job. If you think about your job as a bad thing, that's how you go position it in your brain. If you think about your job as a way for you to earn a stream of income, it'll change how you deal with your job. If you go look for a job with the idea of, I'm looking for a job so that I can create one of my streams of income, which is earned income, you'll deal with that job a different way. So this is a great book for you to pick up, read. We may, maybe in the next week or two during this series, maybe have a couple people mention some things about the book. So if you read that book and you're willing to talk a little bit about something that you picked up from the book, just let me know, either text or email or something like that. Then I'll call on you on one of the calls just to kind of get some testimonials on that book. I don't even know how many times I read that. I've been reading that book for 20 years. I mean, I've read that book so much that I don't even know how many times I've read it. And again, guys, Rich Dad Poor Dad, no money involved. So don't give me no excuse about, hey, well, I don't really have the money, the budget's tight, I've been laid off, I'm furloughed, I just got a new job. You could go to YouTube and watch that book for free. No excuses, right? So what is having a business mindset? What does that mean? What does that mean to have a business mindset? Profitable things first on your to-do list. So when you're looking at your to-do list, how are you deciding what's first? Are you looking at a personal development training and saying, hey, put the big rocks in first, and then put the little rocks in behind it? That's a thought. But my question to you is, what makes you money? What makes you money? Is organizing your desk making you money? Or are you calling those 10 leads on your desk making you money? If you own a gym, does it make you more money to wipe down equipment, or does it make you more money to call on the people who are members who their credit card didn't go through the last time y'all tried to charge them, and you got a list of those people that need to be called to find out whether or not they're dropping their membership, because that is your month-to-month subscription-based income. Right? As a realtor, does it make more sense for you to be showing houses or for you to be doing home buyer seminars? Which one is making you money? You're in a network marketing company, you're making sales. What are you doing during the day? Are you prospecting during the day, or are you organizing your paperwork and figuring out who you're going to prospect? Because you shouldn't be doing that in the middle of the day. So profitable things first. That's having a business mindset. Growth mindset is skill set and business model. So we're talking about thinking about, hey, how can I sharpen my skill set? How can I take my business model and grow it? Right. And the next slide is going to talk about how to move away from that 9-to-5 mindset. And this kind of connects to that. You no longer work for somebody when you're owning your own business. So you need to look at how you can increase and grow your business model and how you can sharpen your skill set, because the sharper your skill set is, the better you are at what you do. And maybe you're saying, hey, you know what? I'll give you two examples, right? I am a gym owner and I do personal fitness training as well. So I have a lot of personal fitness training clients that come to my gym. Well, now I have personal trainers who work for my gym, and they're starting to take over my clients. So now I sharpen my skill set, and I say, well, I'm gonna go back to school and become a nutritionist, and now I'm gonna start selling the nutritionist plans and changing the cost of what it takes to be a member here that has a personal trainer, and say, hey, for an extra $19 a month, we can now put together meal plans because we have a nutritionist, and that could be me. Does that make sense? So you got to always be growing your skill set and growing your business model so that you can make more money, so that you've got more streams of income coming into that business. Unpredictability, mundane activity, but unpredictable results in storms. What am I talking about? When you've got a 9 to 5, you go to work every day, whether you sit in that bathroom for 2 hours and act like you're in the bathroom, using the bathroom, or you actually doing your job, unless they catch you, you're going to get paid. Yes or yes? When you own the business, you're doing that mundane activity, but it's unpredictable results and unpredictable storms. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if when you buy real estate, the market is going to crash. You don't know when you open that gym whether something like Corona is going to come and then make you shut your gym down after you did all of that work. You don't know when you're in network marketing, when you make 50 calls a day, whether or not you're going to close something. I know the probability says you will, but you don't really have, it's not a grounded fact that you're going to, but you're doing the work. So a business mindset is that unpredictability of saying, hey, look, this is not about, okay, I'm trading time for money. I went in, I did my 8 hours, I worked hard, I need you to give me a check. Predictability. Being a business owner is unpredictable. So you will still have that same mundane activity, but you do not know what you're going to get paid. Sometimes you get paid less. Sometimes you get paid more. Sometimes you don't get paid at all. And you don't know what kind of storm is going to come. And really the unpredictable storm can even happen with a 9 to 5, as we just saw with Corona, as we're still seeing with Corona. Last bullet point, guys, on this slide, why and why not? Why and why not? So you may have heard me mention this before. What is your why? But again, what is your why not? And then fears versus goals. So I want you guys to all do an exercise, not right here while we're on it now. If you want to do it now, you can, but I'll ask a couple of you all about this next week. Write some goals down on a sheet of paper and then draw a line next to your goals, right? To split the paper. And then I want you to write your fears down too. Because there's something about looking at your fears that takes some of the fear away. And see, these aren't exercises that you're going to do necessarily with the 9 to 5, but to create that business mindset, you got to be able to say, hey, you know what? What's my why? Why am I opening up this business? Why am I getting into this? And what's my why not? Like, what won't I do? What won't I do here? So, right? So I owned the tax office. And when I owned the tax office years ago, I opened it up to make money. I didn't do it for any other reason. It wasn't about me wanting to contribute to taxes being done properly. Sorry. That's not why I opened up a tax office. I opened up a tax office because somebody called me and told me that I could make $100,000 in 4 months if I had a tax office. So I opened up a tax office. That's what I did. What is the why not? The why not is I'm not going to allow somebody to come in here with a fake W-2 and process it so that I can get paid off their taxes. What was the why not? I'm not going to allow a person, a young lady to come in here. Normally it's a young lady. I'm not picking on women, but sometimes it's a young lady. I'm not going to allow a young lady to come in here and claim 4 kids, but she only has 2, so that she can get a bigger tax return. Because if she get a bigger tax return, I get a bigger check. So what won't you do to make that money? What won't you do to make that money? And then fears versus goals. You want to make sure you write your goals down, but you also write your fears down, because the things that you're scared of, once you put them on paper and you look at them, now you can look at it and it's like you're facing it, if that makes sense. So give it a try, see if it works out for you. But that's part of that business mindset. Definitely part of having that business mindset. So this slide here, we about to close out, guys. I know it's late. I lost y'all a couple of times. That's why we're going so long. Separating from that 9-to-5 mindset. You don't need permission when you own the business, and you got to remember that. As a business owner, guys, you do not need permission anymore. Now, some of the men on the line, you might need permission from your wife, but you know what I mean. You don't have a boss, so to speak. Painkiller versus vitamin. See, at your job, you can whine about the issues and go to your supervisor, and your supervisor goes to his supervisor, and that supervisor goes to the floor manager, and the floor manager goes to somebody in an office with a closed door who then contacts the CEO about the problem. So you get that vitamin, right? Excuse me, you get that painkiller. Sorry, you get that painkiller. Something's happening. You call supervisor, floor manager, important person, CEO. Kill the pain. As a business owner, you want to be the vitamin. That's what you want to be. You are the problem solver. There's nobody to whine to. If you come in the office and your computer is shut down and not working, you can't bang on the desk and get upset and be like, every time I come to work, this is what I got to deal with. They need to get this fixed. No, that's your problem because it's your computer set up. So you are that are running a business for the first time. You are the man in the mirror. You are the woman in the mirror. You are the person. You are the end all. You are the person responsible for all the good stuff happening in your business, and you are the person responsible for all the bad stuff happening in your business. So that 9-to-5, you can take that painkiller, but in your business, you the vitamin. You are the problem solver, guys. No more clock watching. That clock watching mentality. I know y'all heard John Maxwell talk about that. 10 minutes before it's time for you to get off work, you already putting your running sneakers on. You done cut your computer off. You straightening up your desk. Some of y'all go to the bathroom 20 minutes before it's time for y'all to leave and sit in the bathroom 20 minutes before it's time for y'all to clock out. Clock watching. If you want to do that on your job, go right ahead. That's your business. But when you own a business, no more clock watching. There is no trading time for money like you see in that second to last bullet point. Watching that clock, no more of that. You work until it's done. That's what we do as business owners. That's why you need to be doing something you're passionate about, because we work until we're done. Stop trading time for money. When you're a business owner, you're getting paid based on value. And we just did a 4-part series on value, adding value. So it says your business is a cruise ship, not a rowboat. What are we talking about? That 9-to-5 mindset. This is all I have to do. You come to work and you do your job, and you expect everybody else to do their job for that ship to run. When you run in that business and it's your business, not no rowboat. You're not answering phone calls and then gonna lock up at the end of the day and think that something else gonna happen. Ain't no people gonna come in there in the middle of the night and make sure everything's working the way it should the next day. Not the way it works. The way this works is you are responsible for getting everything done or hiring people to do whatever you don't get done. That's what happens when you own a business. So you're not in the rowboat anymore. You don't have a job detail that you get paid to do. You run that ship. You run that ship, and you got to know when you're on a cruise ship, you cannot turn on the drop of a dime. Got to plan it out. Got to make sure you got people in place. Got to make sure you got people handling marketing for you, even if it's on social media. Got to make sure you got people handling admin stuff for you if you get too busy. You cannot catch a cold and shut your business down, even if you're a network marketer. Because I know a lot of people on this line, you network marketers, and you're like, hey, I'm sick. Well, how is your business running when you're sick? Do you have a team? Is it leveraged income going on there? Are you still getting residual when you're sick? Is somebody going to take care of your appointments for a split when you get sick? You cannot be a business owner and you be your only asset. Because if you're your only asset, y'all know what that means, right? You got to get up off your assets every day and go to work. That's why I call you self-employed when you think like that. Last one, work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. In the 9-to-5 world, right? And in this slide, we're separating from the 9-to-5 mindset. The harder you work, that's how you keep your job. You work hard, you work hard, you work hard. Come in and get your job done. When you own a business, you work smart. You work smart, you work convenient, you hire people to do the things that you don't want to do so that they get done properly. You should not be this stressful business owner pulling your hair off. That's not a good experience. And it's not fair to your family. So learn how to work smarter, not harder. You got to move away from that 9-to-5 mindset. All right. It's the last slide, guys. Last slide. So next week, we're going to be talking about thinking like a business owner, plugging into a system or creating one if you don't have one to plug into. Utilizing administrative tools to make your job easier, like the Calendars and the MailChimps and all the other programs out here that we have to make our job easier. If you're saying, hey, I want to be on social media, there's programs that you can plug into, automation programs where all of your social media can get done without you doing anything. You can set it up on the calendar for things to go out at a certain time and say certain things while you're somewhere doing something else. And then we're going to talk about millennials, about how millennials can change your business, how you can get them involved and they can make your business really real time. You don't know how many millennials I talk to that walk me through things, to help me with things, to make sure that I've got certain things in place. It's just, they understand all those things because that's the era that they live in. You know, we grew up, and I'm 45 years old. We grew up in my type of old school, where when I grew up, there wasn't no cell phones. And then when I got a certain age, then you got pagers and then you got cell phones. So, you know, that happened all in our, these millennials, they were already there. You know, my grandbaby is 1 year old. 1 year old, just turned 1 year old in April. She already has her own tablet. She got her own iPad at 1 year old. She knows how to touch the screen and move things around with her hand because she realizes when she touches it and she moves it, it moves, right? So she's going to grow up in a different mindset. She's going to understand so much more about electronics when she gets, 15, 16, 17 years old, because at 1 year old, she's playing with a tablet. At 1 year old, I was playing with Hot Wheels, right? It's a different world. The millennials are important. Don't discount them. They bring a lot to the table. So we're going to talk a little bit about working with millennials, even when it comes to doing admin things for your business, whatever kind of business that you're in. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. The rest of these slides are, of course, I'm gonna take some, I'm gonna do a little bit of Q&A for the people who want to stay on for that. But again, text mindset 904-932-0622. If you need reminders, if you don't need reminders, totally fine. Get plugged in, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Thanks you guys all that are following me there. Make sure you continue to follow me on those platforms. Follow me on LinkedIn as well. Again, if you follow me on LinkedIn and you give me a referral, I'll give you a referral back all day long. And I'm still always looking for testimonials. So feel free to give a testimonial. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the screen. You guys see me? Yes, no? What you see? Oh, there we go. Yep, that's a yes.